What's up, YouTube? It's Juice Beats back again with another video. And just like I promised before in some other videos, I wanted to do a quick one about waxing your chain. Now, my chains have been waxed for probably all of this year. I didn't wax them last year because I didn't really know about it, but I learned about it and then I started waxing them this year. And so now I have wax chains, but so we're gonna skip a few steps. I'll talk about it a little bit, but there's a few steps that I'm gonna skip because my chains are already waxed and I don't have a brand new chain. But if you do have a brand new chain, this is what you want to do. You want to get some chain stripper. So I'm not sponsored by Silca or anything like that, but they have a chain stripper that will take all the factory grease off of your chain, and that'll make it much easier for you to be able to wax your chain later on. Basically, before Silca came out with this, because they just recently came out with this chain stripper, there were several ingredients that you needed to be able to strip your chain of the factory grease, and that's kind of what I went through. But now they've made it much easier. So if you do buy a new chain, you want to go ahead and get that chain stripper. It'll strip all that factory grease off, and then you'll be ready to go on to the next steps, which is waxing your chain. All right, so here we go. I've got my chain here, and what I did last night before I'm getting ready to wax my chain here is I went ahead and boiled some water. And what that does is it's going to take off the old wax, or most of the old wax, and get off, all the toxins, all the dirt, the grease, all that stuff that was built up on the chain from before. Because it's a wax chain, it's not going to get inside the rollers inside the chain. So you don't have to worry about that. But basically, I use boiling water to get off all that excess wax, and then we're going to reapply wax here in just a moment. It'll be like a brand new wax chain again. But yeah, that's how you want to get off the old wax and the old dirt and stuff like that. You want to boil some water, and then it's nice and easy if you have a strainer like this. This is super cheap. I got it at the dollar store or something like that. So you can get one like that. Boil some water, pour it down over top of the chain. Make sure it gets nice and clean again, and then you should be ready to wax your chain. All right, so next step here is I've got this Instapot here, and this is what I recommend to you guys. Not this particular brand or anything, but I recommend an Instapot. One reason is I tried to use a slow cooker before, and what happened was it just took way too long for the wax to heat up and cool down and all that stuff. This one right here, an Instapot, it's gonna get that wax nice and heated pretty quickly. It's gonna start melting really quick, and then you can get started much quicker. And it only takes probably about 10 to 15 minutes rather than taking an hour or two to get everything started here. So we're going to hit the start button. We're doing the slow cooker. Obviously it says slow cooker, but it's going to heat it up pretty quickly inside. So we'll just wait a few minutes, and I actually can show you. There is the wax inside, and it's gonna get heated up pretty quickly in just a moment here. So we'll just leave that on for a minute, let it start cooking, and then we will dive right in just a minute. All right, so it's been a couple minutes now, and we're gonna see, and looks like we've got some molten wax in there. Looks good already. It is definitely melted. So now we just need to lower the chain in there, and I've got this handy hook that I made out of a clothes hanger, an old one. And so we're just gonna take the chain here, lift it up, and we're just gonna drop it in there. All right, so I use this chain also as like a little stirrer here, and you can kind of see like some bubbles and stuff that are popping up there. That's good. That kind of lets you know that it is going inside the rollers and everything there. So when you see those little bubbles, that means it's working well. And so the other thing about the wax is I use absolute black wax. This is I guess the first wax that I came across that I liked. So that's why I'm using that. Silca also makes a really nice wax, and I've heard that one is excellent as well. So you can't go wrong. I'm not sponsored by either one, so I can say, you can use either one, I guess. But yeah, this is the wax that I use, and I kind of roll it around in here a little bit, kind of get it mixed up real well here, so that it's mixing inside the chain. Really, what you want it to cover the entire chain. So here in a second, I'm gonna try to get all these links and everything covered here and drop down the best I can here. And the other great thing about having this Instapot is you can actually take this pot out, and you can put a different pot in there and use it like a cooker if you want. So you can use it for a wax. You can use this pot for the wax, and then you can use a different pot for your cooking. So it doesn't affect anything inside the cooker there. So you can kind of see those bubbles down there. It's bubbling up. That means it's getting inside those links. And so I'm gonna let it bubble up a little bit more here. And then I'm going to turn the cooker off. I want it to get, some nice, some good heat here first, because heating up the chain a little bit is gonna help the wax stick to it a little bit better once it starts to dry. So I'm gonna let it heat up a little bit here, and then I'm going to take it out in just a few. But here in the meantime, I am actually doing another chain. So I have two chains that I'm working on at the moment, and I'll show you right here. So here's my other chain. I'm going to go ahead and prepare this one. This is not the one that I'm going to be using here in just a little while, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my boiling pot of hot water here that I'm boiling at the moment, and I'm going to pour it over this chain and kind of clean it up a little bit and get it ready for the waxing process that's going on at the moment with the current chain that I'm about to use here shortly. I am racing this weekend, so I'm just trying to make sure that my chain is freshly waxed and ready to go for the race. All right, so I have been just kind of jostling the chain around a little bit in here, just trying to make sure that it bonds really well with the chain. I've turned off the slow cooker, so now it's going to start to cool off a bit, and we're going to kind of wait for the cooling process. We want to get it to where it is almost, you can almost see the wax kind of not melted on the top. So it's going to have like kind of that really thin layer that looks like it's drying up on the top there. So that's where we're gonna kind of wait for it. And that's where we know that the wax has kind of bonded to the chain. The other thing to note is you don't see those bubbles anymore as well. So that's what I'm also looking for. So once you don't see it kind of bubbling up anymore, that just means that it is, inside those links and those rollers and everything. And there's, it's bonded inside the links and stuff there. So we're gonna wait just a couple more minutes and wait for it to kind of cool down a bit. And we're gonna get it to where, that last little bit of cooling, and it kind of creates almost like a thin sheet of dried wax on top, and that's where we're gonna take it out here. All right, pot is boiling, and I'm going to go ahead and get this second chain cleaned up a little bit here. Get our boiling hot water here, and we're gonna pour it over top, nice and slow. We're gonna make sure we get all that dirt, all the toxins, whatever's on this chain here. So I like to flip it over to the other side as well, and then finish pouring on the other side. Make sure. Make sure we get the entire chain looking as decent as possible. There we go. All right, so chain is probably going to be scalding hot, so we're going to need to wait a few minutes on that. And while I was pouring the water over the other chain, it kind of froze a little bit on top. So I'm gonna heat it up just a little bit here and let it get back to that nice setting on top. You can kind of see, like right now, it looks almost like it's hard, but it's not on top there. It's actually just mushy, but I want to get it to a point where it's a little bit thinner on top here. So I did let it go a little bit too far because I wasn't paying attention, but we're gonna let it heat up just a little bit more here and kind of let some of this thick stuff on top here come off the chain. But yeah, that's what happens when you don't pay attention. And yeah, I was too worried about getting the other chain cleaned off here. Okay, I promise I'm gonna pay attention again this time. Put my attention more on this one here I'm working on. So taking it out of the slow cooker for a minute. This lets it cool down a little bit quicker as well. So I'm going to let it sit there. I'm gonna watch it a little bit closer. It should be okay now. I let it go a little bit too far on the hardening process, and yeah, it got a little thick on top there. That's what happens when you don't watch. But yeah, it should here in just a minute start to kind of harden up a little bit on that top again, and that's where we're going to take it out. And then we're going to watch the drips on the bottom. So we want to kind of let the drip on the bottom drip out just a little bit, but we want to see, we don't want it to be dripping fast because that means that it's not kind of bonded to the chain there. We want it to kind of drip a little bit slow and almost look like it's just going to hang there a little bit. So that's where we're going to kind of take it out here in just a minute. You can kind of check and see where we're at here. Yeah, see, it's still kind of dripping kind of fast right now. So that means that it's still kind of hot and that we want to wait just a couple more minutes for it to cool down a little bit more. I'm gonna bond it a little bit more here. Let it get all over this chain. All right, I'm pulling it up here. Got a slow-ish drip, not too crazy. And now comes the next part where we just kind of let it dry. We're gonna let it dry for about 45 minutes or more, depending on how quickly you're trying to put it on your bike again. But basically 45 minutes I think will be okay to be able to put it back on the bike. But you don't want to put it back on before then because it won't be completely dried back up yet. All right, so we're just gonna let it hang for another 45 minutes or so before we put it back on the bike. But yeah, I just got it hanging right here on the trainer bike, just hanging off the side here, and just letting it kind of harden back up. You can see it's gonna be stiff here in just a little bit, but it's already kind of a little bit stiff there. So we'll just let it chill for a little bit, and then after about 45 minutes or so is where you'll kind of unravel the chain, pull it all the way out, and then you take like a nice rag cloth or something like that and just kind of run all the way through, just to make sure you get all the excess wax off the chain there. So all in all, it took me about 40 minutes today because I'm filming to do the chain, but normally it takes about 20-25 minutes or so. It was just because there's, you know, a lot of steps that I wanted to go through and make sure that I'm explaining throughout the video. So that's why it took me a little bit longer today, but normally, yeah, 20-25 minutes or so. And so I've already started my second. So I let it dry after boiling, and now it's sitting in there. We're gonna try to get some of those bubbles out here. And yeah, we're just going through this one as well. So I don't have to go through all the steps again with you guys, but yeah. If you have any questions or anything about what you saw today, leave them down there in the comments. I'll try to answer as many as I can. But yeah, that's how I wax my chains, and that's how, you know, I kind of learned how to do it here. And you know, once the chain and everything is waxed and you've waited at least 45 minutes, then that's when you know, you put it back on the bike and get it ready to go, and you should be good. They say with this wax it lasts about 200-250 miles. Sometimes you can get 300 miles out of it, but if you aren't able to wax in between that time, you can go ahead and get their Absolute Black chain lube, which is wax based as well. You can you know, get some wax based lube, and you can apply that in between wax jobs if you're not able to you know, sit down for 20-25 minutes and wax your chain. So that helps out a lot. I've got a bottle of that just in case, if, you know, for whatever reason I'm not able to get one of these chains waxed in time to go do a race or whatever. So yeah. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you know when I post videos. But I'll be posting some more soon. I've got another race this weekend, so hopefully I'll be getting that out pretty soon as well. But anyway, I will see you guys later. Peace.